This evening, we received reports of a sighting right here over the Market Street Bridge over the river. A couple in the building, in the residential building right here on the corner of Market Street and South Street, they stated that they saw something outside of their window and they immediately ran down on the remote chance that it could be the little girl that everyone is looking for. They came on the bridge, and when they looked over the bridge, they believed they saw the little girl and immediately contacted the police. Our fire chief, who was still in the area, all of our emergency responders were here. Instantly, we're on the bridge. Our fire chief deployed the boats, and we were able to recover the body of the little girl about 100 feet from the Market Street Bridge. She was taken out in Wallington. I immediately went to the family to inform them, and they got in the car with me in the police vehicle, along with Mayor Ganto from Garfield, and we came directly to the site. At the site, the mother was able to see her child. I want to thank the medical examiner for her professionalism, her compassion, and her heart. As a parent, she understood the sensitivity of the circumstances around this, how this mother has been waiting by the river for 3 days, and the mother was able to see the child. Obviously, there was some relief that she was able to see her child, but at the same time, extreme grief at understanding that there was confirmation that she has lost her daughter. As a city, as a community, we mourn, join along our neighboring municipalities in expressing our condolences and continuing to express love and support. The family wanted everyone to know that they continue to be so very appreciative for your love, your words of encouragement, your support during these most difficult times. They do ask that their privacy can be respected in these moments as they are now grieving and coming together, and they're preparing for the next steps in the grieving process, and obviously the appropriate programs that have to take place. This is not a family of means. They welcome your support in these days, and again, they express their deep appreciation. As mayor, once again, I want to share that many of our parks have bodies of water. It is important that we tell all of our children to please stay away from them. It can be deceptively inviting and incentivizing to come and play around it, but it can be extremely dangerous. Right now, as we consider our debriefings that we're going to do, we're going to have a lot of conversations. But right now, as a community, we are grateful to everyone who has reached out. We are so grateful to this couple. Some people would have seen something obscure and went back into their apartment, but not this couple. They ran down to confirm, and when they saw the image that was consistent with the description of what everyone was sharing, they immediately called 911. And because our fire chief stayed in the area with all of our equipment, they were able to deploy the boats immediately. Just earlier, a little bit earlier, the fire chief had ordered the boats to an area where the cadaver dogs, or the canine cadaver unit, had seemed to indicate that there was something there. The firefighters went in. They began with poles to dislodge everything in that specific area. And then a little bit after that, we received a report that a body may have come up and was floating a little bit away from the area. So again, I want to thank our fire chief. Once again, I want to thank the mayor of Garfield, the deputy mayor, the fire chief, but everyone, all the elected officials. But Mayor, your compassion, your heart, your attentiveness to the families all from Garfield, it's just inspiring and a real reflection of your leadership and your character, along with the deputy mayor and your entire governing body. Thank you so much for the partnership. To Wallington and all of the officials and law enforcement, thank you, because collaboratively and working together, this was able to bring some closure to this family. To our chief, who has not slept for 3 days, who has been coordinating the efforts along with the deputy chief, Bob Munier, and the battalion chief, Jacob Herniak, and all of the firefighters working with all of the emergency responders. Thank you for your work and your effort, Chief. Thank you to your wife who brought food for the families. Thank you for the business owners that donated food to the family. Obviously, right now, there's a family that has to prepare for the next steps, but there is closure. And the next steps are to ensure that this never happens again. If there are any questions, then I'll bring the chief and the mayor up.
Mayor, a question for you. You've been out here also for several days. I know you mentioned you have children of your own. How has this impacted you personally?
I will admit, like everyone else, we've spent very little time with our families. But I would share with everyone, hug your children, tell them that you love them. To the mother who lost her son, imagine the dual emotions that she was dealing with, the relief that her daughter made it out, but the horrible sorrow that she lost her son. It is extremely difficult to deal with that and continue to do our jobs as we are called to do, to inform and to be there and to continue to help out. But whatever I have gone through, I would propose whatever any of us have gone through together pales in comparison to the hurt that these mothers feel, and being able to focus on them and serving them. And again, just seeing the communities come together, seeing people of different backgrounds, different heritage, different cultures from different walks of life. No matter what cities, everyone consistently relating and empathizing and showing love, it got us all through. And you know who should be highlighted? The divers who kept going in and out, no matter the conditions, no matter how strong the current was. Even that Wednesday, when they found the little boy at 10, the chief can tell you they were supposed to finish. And when they found the little boy, they kept going to 1:30 in the morning. Despite the conditions, despite some of the risk to themselves, they didn't want to stop because they're parents and they understood the gravity of the situation. They wanted these parents to know they won't quit. Police were here early. Passaic Valley Sewage Commission sent their boats early from the Newark Bay. Communities all over were going around the river. And I want to say this because it's seldomly said. I want to thank everyone that covered the story, because you kept everyone aware and alert. And because the story was shared and it went out so wide and so broadly, individuals like this couple, when they saw something, they immediately acted. If not for the constant coverage, people may have dismissed something like an object over the river and said that's nothing. But because everyone kept hearing the story, to those who reported, to those who shared it, and there was an amazing story on Route 21, exit 10. A group of individuals stood on exit 10 of Route 21 and began to pray over the river that the girl would be found today. Everyone who prayed and sent their thoughts, thank you to every single one of you. The rainbow, the mayor shared. When we went there, there was this remarkable rainbow. I'll share the image after this, right over where the body was being held for the mother to come. We didn't see any rain in that area, but there was a very strong rainbow that just stood there. Many of you will see the image. This brought some comfort to the mother as she was waiting to see her little girl.
The mayor, for that couple that was looking down at that river, did they spot the body in the river, or was it already washed?
In the river. So they were looking out of their window, saw something that caught their eye, obviously, as they were looking out the window, and they came running down immediately. They stood on the bridge, and then they saw what they believed to be a body consistent with the description that we have been given of a little girl, and they immediately called 911. Because of their swift actions, their immediate response, it got to our fire chief, and he deployed boats right away.
You mentioned this briefly at the top, but that ramp, there's no benches there. There's no fence or anything like that. Is that something you're discussing?
There are fences around the ramp and all along the riverbank. However, as I mentioned before, there will be opportunities for debriefing. This is the time, now that there has been closure that was brought to this family, to both the families, both of these beautiful families that are going through grief. Now we will meet with our fire chief, with the Passaic County Sheriffs, and with the Passaic County Commissioners. This is a county park. We will have talks with our mayor in Garfield and surrounding municipalities. We will receive feedback from the families. And as mayor, I commit to reach out to the county and work together, because like any incident, one time is one too many. And even though this is the first time it happened, we want to make sure it never happens again. We would have hoped it would have never happened. Hindsight is always 20/20. This has never occurred. Kids are always playing on the other side. But again, one time is too many. So we'll have conversations, identify opportunities for improvement. What can be done so that it never happens again? This will be our focus now, as well as continuing to support the family.
And can you confirm that there was no gate on the ramp? It was just on the sides? Or
There is a street, and across the street there is a playground, a spray pad. Coming on the other side towards the ramp, there is nothing. That ramp is constantly used. It's consistently used by emergency responders, firefighters, deploy boats. Oftentimes when we receive reports, we've received them from Patterson, from Woodland Park. If there's something in the river, our fire chief deploys the boats from there. We sometimes have other municipalities use the ramp. We have used the ramp for initiatives like canoe recreation programs for kids. So the ramp is consistently used. It is not blocked off. But it is important now because we must have transparent government and we must be accountable that after looking at this situation, we meet and see if it needs to be blocked off. Are there gates that we can utilize that will still allow easy access in an emergency situation? Because in an emergency situation, the fire chief and whoever is responding must be able to open it and get into that ramp right away. So yes, we will have those conversations, but as to your question, there is not an existing fence. Are there any other questions for me? Then, if I may, Mayor, if you want to say a few words, and then Chief. Sure, Chief, if you want to come up.
If you could just tell us what the last 3 days have been like for you.
Well, to start off, that we are fortunate to have support through our mutual aid system. When we first called, we received the call of distress or someone in the river. It was somewhere around 6:15. We were deployed and on scene by within 15 minutes at the most. Somewhere around 6:25, we first arriving on scene. We immediately dispatched our boats. We were able to deploy 2 of our Marine units. I immediately dispatched our truck companies, which is a protocol upstream, which would be south of the entry point, and we were able to cover as much as the areas we can. As everyone may or may not realize, it takes minutes, literally minutes, for anyone to get caught in a current. I will stress that earlier this week, we did get a lot of rain in our area. We were prone to flooding. Our tidal water coming in and out, it also complicates things when we have fresh water coming from up north. And that was the situation that we were facing. Tremendous 6 to 7 extra feet of water above our normal tidal. And that's what we experienced upon our arrival. We were in the water within minutes of arrival, and everything was deployed to the best of our ability. And you know, that's what we faced the first few minutes that we were upon.
And in terms of recovering the body tonight, what was that like for your team?
Well, if you may or may not know, we've been on the water 12 hours per day. We had resources, anywhere between 20 to 25 boats to as few as 14, 15. I mean, we've had resources. We were access to every boat that was available. We had 4 or 5 sonar units working. State Police, Passaic County Sheriff's Department. As far as Newark Fire Department was on standby. They deployed their drones. This was a group unified effort from Passaic, Bergen, Essex counties, state police, tremendous effort and resources that were brought to this. The night of the incident, we were doing an active search and rescue. It's very hard to go from a rescue effort to a recovery. Every stone is turned over in order for us to go to that point. And like the mayor mentioned, once our divers were in the water, we were facing a current. They were working off ropes, working in the dark, working through a thunderstorm. We never, ever pulled our people out until we felt that there was no other thing we can do. Somewhere around 10 o'clock, the mayor mentioned, we found the male victim, and then we continued to search boats and our dive teams right up until 1:30, where the water got to the point that we just could not safely be there in the dark. And then we started at 6:30 the following morning and continued. But I want everybody to understand that this was a 24-hour operation. So when the boats left the water, which was almost 10, 11 o'clock at night, and no longer safely can operate, we began to search on land. We did bank searches, bridges searches on each hour, and that continued through daylight. And that was the type of operation that we did. And, you know, we take this very serious and we take it very personal. And we all have children, we all have grandchildren. And this was a tough one.
Mayor?
Before I start, I would just like to ask everyone to just keep the families in their thoughts and prayers. This horrific incident that happened to their children is something that no one wants to endure, no one wants to go through. I would personally like to thank Mayor Lora, the chief, the police department in Passaic for their expertise, their professionalism. Although the 3 children are from our city, the city of Garfield, the incident happened in Passaic, so the investigation was done through Passaic. I'm just so grateful that the body was recovered. Unfortunately, it's not the outcome we wanted, but it gives the family tonight some peace. She was, like Mayor Laura said, the mother was able to see her daughter, and she was so very distraught. She was, but when she came back and sat down, and she says she looked just like she was when she left the house. So she was in, I'm glad it brought the mother peace. This is something difficult. The city of Garfield, this is the 3rd child that we lost in our school district, in our city, over the last 5 months. Several months ago, we lost a child from an e-bike incident, now 2 from the drowning. I just want to reiterate what the chief said and the mayor said, just be careful around the bodies of water. I know children are very curious, but, it might look calm on the surface, but underneath the undertow, it can be very dangerous. And you get stuck in the mud and it takes you out. I'm just, we're all just mourning. It's just a horrible incident. And I just ask everyone to keep both families in their thoughts and prayers. And like Mayor Laura said, I also want to personally thank the media. The media doesn't always get the praise they deserve to get, but in this one, you definitely deserve every bit of it, because without you covering it, it may not have amplified what was going on. And listen, we all know when a child or children are involved, it's amplified. But again, I just want to thank all of you also in the media.
I'm not sure if the families are willing to share the identities yet. Either way, I don't know if the right person is to answer this, but can you share anything just about what they love to do, anything about their personalities together?
They were typical children. They came into the park to play. They came to have fun and explore, and unfortunately, it ended in tragedy. I believe in the next few days, as the parents prepare and the families prepare for the programs, the wakes, and the funeral, the information will be shared publicly. I can tell you that I spoke to them, and on behalf of the family, they wanted to express their deep appreciation once again to everyone who showed love and support and for getting the word out. In many of our communications, we consistently stated the same thing. If you see something, call the police. Please don't go near the water, but if you see anything near the river, call the police. And that's exactly what happened tonight. A couple was looking out of their window from this building right behind me, and they saw something over the water. On the remote chance that it could possibly be the child, they came running downstairs, and when they were able to confirm over the water, they called 911. This is why it's so important. Any incident that involves children, those crucial moments when people react and respond can make all the difference. I want you to consider this because it's so very important. Had that couple not said anything, and the current, as fast and as strong as it was, would have continued all night, there could be a possibility she would have ended up by the Newark Bay and continued, and we may have never found her. We don't know how conditions would have changed overnight. We don't know what direction the current would have went in. The fact that they reacted so quickly was paramount to the operation and to be able to respond. As the chief of the fire department stated, within 15 minutes, boats in the water and able to get her within 100 feet from where she was first identified and saw. But in terms of the kids, these were beautiful kids. Some of the things that their parents shared is that they were brave and courageous, which may tell us a little bit as why they dared to go so close to the ramp. These were kids that were not afraid. These were kids that I think we could all learn from. They were from different backgrounds, but they were friends, and they were playing with each other. Sometimes we forget that from childhood We forget that we never looked at our differences. We just found people who wanted to play the same game that we wanted to play. They went to the same park. When I was a kid, we got to the park. We didn't ask many questions. If you wanted to play the game, you were invited. They were playing with each other. That says a lot about these children and their families. In the first evening, when they were unsure, when there was so much uncertainty and they weren't being informed right away, they paused, even in their despair, to support one another, to thank the gentleman who jumped in to try to save their children, to thank all of our firefighters and police. That says a lot about who these families are. These are families that genuinely care about their children. And like any parent, I've taken my kids to the park. And sometimes when I'm doing something, I have to call out for my children. Children run around. I have 4 at home. One is old enough to not go to the park. He's a sergeant in the U.S. Marines. I worry something differently for him. But for my kids, when they're in the park, they're running around. I'm doing something and I'm calling out. Every parent understands that. You can be the most loving parent in the world. But when children are in the park, they can run around and play. And that's why it's so important that we all work together as a community. So not just government. If you're in the park and you see a child and you see them near a body of water or doing something, call out. Ask for their parents. Call out to the police. But if we all respond, just like we all came together to try to find these children or try to identify anything, then our children will be a little bit safer and we'll continue doing everything that we can to prevent something like this ever happening, not just in our city, but in any of our cities. Any questions? Preguntas? Tomorrow, after obviously debriefing, if there are any additional questions, I know our chief will make himself available and Mayor will continue to work with you to support the family as they prepare for the next steps in their grieving process. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.